I am the Knight. Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin, and this is my top 5 favorite Batman movies. Last week I did my top 5 favorite Superman movies, and in the comments I got a request to do my top 5 favorite Batman. And of course, that is perfectly timed with Wonder Woman coming out here real soon. So I thought, hey, let's just do it. Here are my top 5 favorite Batman movies, least to favorite, which is really hard for me to say because, you know, of the ones that I've seen and of the ones that I'm ranking, they're all pretty much my favorite. Coming in at number 5 for me is Batman Returns. I thought this was an awesome movie. I saw it as a kid, and as a kid I saw, you know, the 1989 Tim Burton Batman movie. Freaking loved that movie. Was obsessed with that movie. So when I started to see the commercials for Batman Returns, you can only imagine how crazy I went with utter excitement. And as a child, I was not disappointed watching the sequel Batman Returns. Danny DeVito as the Penguin. Honestly, when I look at all the different Batman reboots, I'm like, yeah, there must be a reason that Penguin has not been rebooted. Number one, probably because, well, kind of hard to fit the Penguin in Christopher Nolan's Batman. But number two, because Danny DeVito did just such a freaking great job. That was one creepy Penguin. I'm pretty sure that's not the actual Penguin origin story, seeing as how Batman 1989 took some liberalities with the origin story of the Joker. But I'm just, either way, what they did with it was great. You have Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. What a fantastic Catwoman, man. Oh my gosh.
I am Catwoman. Hear me roar.
Anne Hathaway did pretty good in The Dark Knight Rises, but, you know, I still look at Batman Returns, where we have the definitive Catwoman, definitive Penguin, and Michael Keaton was just, like, the Batman of the time. Number 4, my top 5 favorite Batman movies, The Dark Knight Rises. This movie does have a lot of weird issues, a little few plot holes, like, I mean, how does a poor guy get from one side of the world to the other side of the world into Gotham City, which is a city held hostage and under siege? Answer: because he's Batman. Even though it has its plot holes, I recognize those plot holes. Even though some of the times I can't understand Bane, I still really enjoyed this movie. It was the conclusion to the Christopher Nolan series. It was a very unique take on Batman versus Bane and bringing in the League of Shadows one more time and Talia al Ghul. I don't think they did Talia al Ghul exactly right like they did in the comics and some of the animated movies I've seen where she and Batman have a thing and she has Batman's son and, you know, they do interesting storylines with that. So, yeah, clearly they didn't do any of that, but also clearly they weren't really planning to take this franchise much further to dig deeper into all of that. But it was still very unique takes on all that. It was just awesome that they brought in Talia al Ghul. And honestly, I did like Bane. That whole scene where you have Batman and Bane fighting each other and there is no music. All you hear is the sound effects of their fists go thud. Batman's back being broken, shoved down to the ground, punched in the head, and the cowl to that cowl cracks. Oh my gosh. Things like that are just so good. And for reasons like that, I throw this into my number 4 and I throw this into my top 5. It had a lot of great high points. I love him working up the strength to climb up to the top of that well without the rope and letting that extra burst of adrenaline and that fear of death be the thing that propels him to get out. Like, there were just so many great moments like that, that in spite of this film's weaknesses, I thought this movie was overall very strong. Again, liked Bane, even if he is hard to understand at points, I still liked the creepiness of his voice. His voice was creepy. He was a great villain, so I really enjoyed The Dark Knight Rises. Anne Hathaway, good Catwoman. If we're not going to do Michelle Pfeiffer, Anne Hathaway did a great job in The Dark Knight Rises. My number 3 favorite Batman movie was Batman Begins. I have a very interesting history with this movie. Back in 2005, I believe it was, when this movie came out, I didn't want to see it. And I didn't want to see it because Batman and Robin was still very fresh on my mind.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
And I didn't understand the concept that this was a reboot. I thought this was a prequel to that whole series of movies of Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin. I was like, really? why are we revisiting this? Yet another actor playing Batman, so it doesn't fit in the continuity, and yet this, and yet that, so we're doing this whole prequel. Why? I had no desire to see this movie, and because of Batman and Robin, my expectations were beyond low. Beyond low.
Let's kick some ice.
I was going in with the most negative attitude, period. It was my cousin Zach who's like, please come see this movie with me. And he made me go. And I walked out of that movie with tears streaming down my face. Probably the tears streaming down my face because when you go in with expectations that low to a movie that is just that genuinely good, it will cause a reaction inside. It broke down walls, man. It broke down expectations. And that day I learned what a real reboot was. And I was like, holy cow, this is Batman done right.
Where are you?
Here. My number 2 favorite Batman movie of all time is the 1989 Michael Keaton Batman movie. Holy freaking cow, that was a great movie. First off, I was a child when that movie came out, and like I said earlier, my anticipation for that was just freaking through the roof. One of the reasons is because I loved that Adam West Batman movie. I really did. Thought it was a great movie. Loved the Adam West Batman series growing up. And now seeing Batman decked out in this like huge black suit, what I saw in the commercials with the muscles and stuff on it, seeing this like Batmobile that had shields and stuff.
Shields.
Next level Batman. I mean, my child mind couldn't handle the excitement that it had for this movie. So when I went and saw this movie, I was blown away. I have loved this movie since childhood. I still love it to this day. Jack Nicholson is an amazing Joker.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did.
Do I love Heath Ledger as the Joker? Yes, but I can't compare the two because Heath Ledger's playing a serious Joker and you have Jack Nicholson who's playing a comic book Joker. So I can't compare them. It's like comparing apples and oranges. But for what they were doing, they were both amazing, and Jack Nicholson is forever up there as my top favorite Joker. If I was to do a top video for my favorite Jokers, it would be the top 2 list. That's it. And it would be Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger. And then I couldn't rank them because, like I said, 2 different types of genres, 2 different types of Jokers. I can't do it. They're just both amazing. I might even watch that movie later today now. My number 1 favorite Batman movie, I am going to go ahead and say The Dark Knight. And the reason I'm going to say The Dark Knight, number 1, I think this might be me being a little cliche, because a lot of people would point to The Dark Knight as one of their favorites because of Heath Ledger, because of this, because of that, or any number of things. I'm pointing to it as one of my favorites because I really loved Batman Begins, and I was kind of nervous going into The Dark Knight thinking, how are they going to do this? I had 0 expectations for Batman Begins, and now Batman Begins has raised the expectations. So what am I going to do? How am I going to feel about this? Am I going to be let down? I was kind of nervous going in, and I was not let down. First off, when I heard Heath Ledger was going to be the Joker, I was very angry because I only know Heath Ledger from movies like A Knight's Tale and 10 Things I Hate About You, and I like those movies. I had nothing against those movies, and I had nothing against his role in those movies. He actually did fantastic, but that was really all I had seen of him up until that point, so I couldn't really see him as the Joker. And then when that first trailer released and you heard his laugh...
Starting tonight, people will die. I'm a man of my word.
I was like, crap. That's it. If you're doing a grounded Batman in the real world, then that's the Joker. That is it. And when I saw the movie, I was blown away.
You have nothing to threaten me with. Nothing to do with all your strength.
Some of the things I've heard people talk about with their negatives with The Dark Knight is how the Joker stole the show from Batman. And I would agree. I think the Joker stole the show from Batman for sure. However, I do not count that as a negative. I loved Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker, and I would not have minded if he stole it even more so from Batman. I mean, my goodness. He was just, it was an amazing characterization of that character, and it was also amazing the way they introduced us and did the origin origin story of Two-Face. Aaron Eckhart as Two-Face was just, that was the perfect fit for that character. It was incredible. I really wished that he was in The Dark Knight Rises, because I just would have liked to have seen more of that character. I would have liked to have seen what they would have done with him. I would have liked to have seen what he would have become and where he would have gone, because I was just that interested in him. And he was in it for such a short time. I mean, you have that big reveal after, you know, the explosion and half his face burns away of the crazy gooey stuff. Like, you get that big reveal, and that is an awesome big reveal. You get some great moments where he's going around getting his vengeance, and then you have that amazing scene at the end between Gordon, between Batman, between Two-Face, and he's got Gordon's wife and Gordon's kids as his hostage. Like, it's just a well done, well written, well constructed scene, and it was just so interesting to me what they did with Two-Face. It was interesting to me how they built up his story. I would really like to have seen Two-Face be the major villain of another Batman movie in that very franchise, because I would like very much to have seen what was going to happen with Two-Face. So I don't know. That's why that one makes my number one, and it does make my number one because of the villains more so than Batman, and I do count that as a positive rather than a negative. I just think Heath Ledger and Aaron Eckhart were amazing in this movie, and I really do think they stole the show, and I don't have a problem with that, because they stole it in a really good way, and they really kind of elevated this movie to the next level, and very interesting movie. So, I don't know. There's where I am with the top 5 Batman. I will do an honorable mention real fast, the Adam West Batman movie. How can I not do that as an honorable mention? Fantastic movie. What are your top 5 favorite Batman movies ever? You can include animated movies, you can include, I don't know, the Lego Batman movie, which I still have not seen, but I'm planning to see here really soon, and I'm excited to finally see that movie. So, what are your top 5 favorite Batman movies? Let me know in the comments. While you're there, hit that subscribe button. Next to the subscribe button is that bell. Click that bell. That way you're notified the moment I drop new videos. Like coming up this weekend, I'm doing my Pirates of the Caribbean review and all kinds of great things coming up. So I'm super excited for things like that. Check out my other videos on this channel. Like and share this video. I'm Durbin. Thank you for checking out Durbania.